No, we're not talking about beer. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games for the Game Pass collection. Bring you three new perspectives from varying skill range. I am the light and the darkness, Andrew. With me, the lighthouse keeper that everyone wishes they could ignore, Keith.
Hello.
And returning with us, our lifehouse, Aaron.
Nice.
See,
Thank you.
So, people may know that Aaron, used to do a movie podcast, but a lot of things people may not know about Aaron is that he's really into music. So I've actually been trying to do more music intro stuff for you.
I appreciate that, because I wonder how many people listening to this know who Lifehouse is. You have to be a certain age demographic to remember the band Lifehouse. But
I think
yes,
demographic
in the
is key too.
mid-2000s, my friend. Not even. Probably earlier than that. Probably late 90s. I was probably in junior high when that came out.
I feel like they were coming around when Nickelback was coming around, but like Nickelback just took off quicker.
Yeah, maybe. You could be right. Could be right.
Anyway, enough about music lessons. This week, we played Keeper by Double Fine Studios. Double Fine Studios, you may remember, we've done a couple of their games. We have done Psychonauts 1. Did we ever do 1? I know we did 2. We also did Brutal Legends. End of list. I think that's all we might have covered from them. I've played a bunch of Double Fine games. Double Fine is usually one of my favorite studios. But Keeper here is a third-person adventure game where you're playing a sentient lighthouse that's going around with your bird companion. I said lighthouse.
You said Lifehouse. You're now got Lifehouse on the brain.
I'm pretty sure
now
I said
he's
lighthouse,
broken.
but whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're going around and you're kind of, fighting back this evil corruption called the Wither and kind of solving problems on this little island. But let's get into this, whether this is a keeper or a pass. Do you like what I did there?
Oh.
I guess I'll start off with this. I gotta say, this was not the game of the week. But I think this landed very poorly for me this week. I will give it a game. I first was going to give this a hard pass. This game filled me with an ungodly amount of gamer rage. I've played a lot of video games in my life. I generally do not have gamer rage. There was something with this game that just was driving me bonkers. And I was messaging in the Discord, one of the mechanics, you control the bird and you have to wind by using the left stick, by, circling your left stick around and it winds up a gear or whatever. I don't know what happened, but apparently I glitched because it was so slow. The first puzzle I had, it took me over 15 minutes. And I'm like, something's going on. Because I messaged the Discord where I'm like, am I the only one? Like, why is this so awful? But nobody else was like agreeing with me. So I was like, it's something with me. Eventually I played on xCloud and it was fine. So I clearly just hit some sort of glitch where winding was so incredibly slow. But I was like so furious. I'm sitting there like playing on my phone while just circling the left stick, trying to wind it. Anyway, end of that rant. Overall though, Keeper, like it's this narrative. It's, one of those games as an art form kind of game. It's cute. It's nice. It's fine, but I wouldn't say it's double fine. This wasn't something I was expecting from the studio. I really like Double Fine's games. From Broken Age, from Trenched, from Psychonauts. Like, I always have a ton of fun with their games. They're super gorgeous, but this, I was having a hard time being entertained. I was pretty bored.
It's funny because I don't know if it's funny, but I was in a similar camp, but it was kind of the more on I went with the gameplay. I was like, I'm just not getting this. And I even by the end, I'm in the middle, but I think I lean more towards the pass because even in this 5-hour-ish, kind of adventure, that's really more just like an artistic journey and that very cool, all that. But I just went, what happened there? What just happened? I think there's a lot of allegory. I think there's a lot of things. A lot of nothing happens in that time span.
Yeah.
Nothing really makes sense. Nothing wraps up. And the gameplay was just kind of meh. So I think it's like barely on that pass, but I think I'm going to actually give this a pass.
And this is a This is really interesting because I think we're all falling into the same territory. And why this one sticks out to me is I thought I was going to be the odd man out because reviews for this, I didn't read any of the reviews, but I would see things pop up. So I think like IGN or something like that gave it a 9. I saw another thing give it a 9. Again, didn't read any of them, but I saw that. So I was like, oh, okay. And then one of the big writers, I forget which one it was, but he wrote on X that he finished it and he was like, don't read anything about this game. Just go play it. This was such a wonderful, delightful surprise. I love it. So when we got into this, I was really excited. I didn't want to read anything about it. I want to just go ahead and play it. And I was very on it. It was very to me. I'm going to give it a barely pass for me. We've talked a lot, especially this year, I feel like, about art as games. And it's not new to this year. I just think we've just so happened to run across a lot of games that we've tried out on Game Pass that have been games that are art that have been turned into games. The most recent one here was Herdling. Was another one of those.
Yeah.
This is more just a very beautiful picture that you can kind of interact with. And this is another example of it. And on paper, this should have worked for me. Visually, it is striking at certain points, and it's a very, very good-looking game. It's also weird and quirky, and I like that type of stuff. As I've said in the past, I like claymation stuff. I like Jim Henson Muppets. I like that stuff. And this feels like it's got some of those vibes, things that I would generally like. But yeah, it exists. It's a thing. And part of me does want to tip my hat, and I think there's a lot of people out there that will like this. I think it just caught me at a bad time. Like Andrew just said, I was thinking the same thing, whereas like, maybe if I had done this game first before something like Herdling, which we just recently did, maybe I would have liked that one more and Herdling less. I'm not really sure, but this one just ultimately was okay. It's not bad. It's not offensively bad, and the creativity is there. And I, again, tip my hat off to Double Fine for doing something that's probably out of their comfort zone. And I will double tip my hat to Microsoft for allowing games like this to be made. I know that especially with
hopefully
with layoffs and stuff, but it does exist at least. So they did at least approve this at some point. So, those are the things I'm happy to see. It's not a bad game, but you got to really, really love art for this to work.
And I think that's my toughest thing. And it's so weird. Like you said, it's not even that there's anything bad about this, and it's not even like it's just not for me type of thing. I think part of it is because I went into it I didn't read any of the reviews, but I had seen at least like all the numbers. I'm like, wow, there's something here. And then I find out it's a 5-hour game. And then I start playing it, and it's almost like a Silk Song thing in a way, like vastly different. They're not comparable in any way other than for my own personal, I don't know how to explain it, but I just don't get it. Like people will sit there and praise and praise and praise it. And I don't see anything wrong with it. I just don't see it doing anything that's like blowing my mind. It's just there.
This to me lived up to exactly what was this shown off at Gamescom?
The Xbox Showcase.
Okay. So it was recent. They had showed it.
I remember seeing it.
And that was the first anybody had heard of it. It was Double Fine. And I remember watching that trailer and thinking, that's really odd. That's really strange. And then the game turns out to be exactly like that. Exactly like you saw in that trailer, which was kind of odd and strange and just kind of beautiful to look at.
Typical Double Fine MO.
Yeah, but Double Fine is known for their narratives. Their narratives are kind of, and this really isn't a narrative-driven game at all. So the other thing that's interesting to me about all this, so this game launches, and like I said, I didn't read any of the reviews, but I was seeing the comments popping up, just like Keith had said, and it was a lot of positive things. There were multiple posts that took shots at Microsoft for not advertising this game. I kind of get why you wouldn't. This is, in my opinion, this is a very niche game. I don't know if it's super smart put a heavy budget into a 5-hour game, like for
Yeah.
advertising. I don't think that's a very smart move. I just don't think that's going to move any numbers. And I actually think it would have been worse for this game in the long run. I kind of think this game is perfect for what it is. It's going to be a beautiful piece of art for some people that are really going to appreciate it and love it. And I think it just so happens to be the people that are reviewing this typically fall in that camp. I
Very true.
don't think this was supposed to be a mass appeal game. It
Well,
wasn't.
and it's almost like, so it's not a cozy game in any ways, but it almost has that kind of feel to it. I
Sure.
think so that people who lean into that style of gameplay a lot, they're gonna see this and be like, okay, everything's very slow paced. There's never a moment that you can fail in the game. You can take a little bit to struggle on a puzzle maybe, but realistically, there's nothing that kills you. If anything is chasing you, it is always perfectly timed. Nothing is bad. It's gonna happen. They even let you skip that if you want to. You can skip any single moment of all those scenes. So, like, it's so accessible in that regard that I think, yeah, it's really more about just there to visit the art, to see the imagery and what's going on. Because we haven't even we've talked a lot about this game, but we haven't even talked about the story, which is nothing, right? Or it is, because that's the other thing. This game says absolutely 0 words the entire game.
Yeah, literally
And
the
it
advertisement
tells you-
says the story with no words is like what they
And-
praise.
And truthfully, I didn't even think it told much of a story without words. It's just, you're just kind of hobbling around. If anything, the real story is in the achievements, because each of them has some piece of lore that if you read through it, you're like, oh, this is, I think, what's happening, or something along
I didn't
those
even think
lines.
about that. Because
And
I never
it's
paid
just so
attention to
weird.
achievements.
I only caught it because I tend to look at them, or like catch my eye, especially if it has a really long description. And I noticed that they did, so I was like, what is that? And then I started reading through them, and that was when I realized that I was like, oh, okay, this is the story. And it's a really weird place to hide it, because that should be available in the game.
See, I disagree. I actually really like that they did the achievements this way, because it's not just you finding a data pad and now sit and read this paragraph. No, it was the achievements. You literally found there were hidden statues, and the statues were kind of a commemoration of some sort of hero or telling the story of what happened in this island. And the achievement would pop up and it would say, oh, this is what that statue's kind of telling and what it's about. I actually really liked that. I thought it was cool to not have to find a data pad.
Yes, but no, because here's what I don't like about it is, yes, short game. Yes, it has a chapter select, so it's easy to go back and collect those. But if I'm going through and I miss 2 or 3 of them along the way, I'm already less interested in the story, and even going back and filling in the gaps with them after on the chapter select, it's really more about collecting the achievement than it is the story. I've finished the game. It's not going to do much to move the needle for me personally on the story, at least. And I get what you're saying in terms of, instead of hiding 92 collectibles, 73, coins and 10 stars, just give me 10 things, 13 things, and that's it.
I don't know if I even realized that there were quote unquote collectibles.
It's the statues that you go. If you're not looking, like Andrew said, they're usually kind of off the beaten path. It's like you take the left turn instead of the right, and then you come to this little cove or something.
So that's the other thing that I love and hate about this game. As we've established, this is art as a game. And because of that, it does the old school Resident Evil camera thing, where
Oh yeah, it got
your camera
annoying.
angle is fixed to however they want to display the game. So in some
Mhm.
cases, you're moving the lighthouse directly at you in the camera. You don't actually see what you're going into. I like that. I kind of appreciate that they understood what this game was and they kind of maximized that.
Yeah, it feels
But
cinematic when you do that.
Yeah, but this also affected my feeling and sense of exploration, because I felt so corridored into something. And it's not open world anyway, so naturally you're going to feel that way. But I never felt like I was going into an area where I could learn something. I could go find something. I could go explore something, and it would be because of how these camera angles kind of force you to
No,
go into the spot.
A lot of them you would find would just be like a little like flower sitting on tucked on the corner of a wall somewhere in an area that was in your fixed camera view, and you would do that and it would like open up something that you could then go to, and the camera would obviously adjust accordingly for it. But yeah, I didn't like that because there were parts where I felt like you could kind of explore, but then I also felt exactly like you did, Aaron. Like, I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, there was definitely times when like it started to open up, and that's when I started to most enjoy the game. Like there's the whole jumping area. I kind of want to be vague here because I don't want to spoil anything. But there's an area where you're kind of jumping, and it's just like, oh, this is actually fun. This is an interesting mechanic. Like this is kind of picking up.
Jumping
Kind
is
of
a
short-lived.
mechanic.
No, no, yeah. And then there was like a water area, which is like past this second half point. That's when the camera angle was really getting annoying because you kind of had these big open areas, and I'm like, I want to turn my camera around, but you can't because the right stick just steers your headlight. So it's just like some of this is just a little bit frustrating. But anyway, let me, I guess, explain a little of the story. The game does start with a cutscene of a flock of different colored birds flying to an island with these black little beetles chasing them. One of the beetles end up hitting one of the birds, and it crash lands onto its lighthouse, and the lighthouse wakes up and scares the bugs away. And now you guys are friends. Now you're going on an adventure. That's the start of the story. Yeah. So
Well, you grow legs too.
yeah,
You didn't have legs, but then suddenly you do.
a magic.
But from what? From the bird? From the bugs? From the love of
I
the
don't-
bird?
From love.
I don't think any of that.
Love
Again,
legs?
I don't think any of that is supposed to be explained, and it has any logical reasons behind it. This is why I go back to it. It is way more art than it is anything else, and I'm fine with that. I don't need an explanation on that.
I'm
Totally
not.
cool.
This is clearly a human lighthouse because you're walking by human-shaped houses. So clearly people lived here. Clearly people
Exactly.
built
So
you.
that's a whole other thing. There's boats you find, there's man-made structures around, but there's no evidence of humans anywhere.
There's clam rock people
There is
And
clam rock
robots?
people.
and robots.
There is
Uh,
robots.
So this is you're bringing up a point, Aaron, that like kind of irritated me with the story. So the way the game started off was like, oh my gosh, this catastrophe, this clearly evil thing, which is called the Wither, is attacking things. I never at any point really felt like this is an island in peril. Like I'm still seeing a lot of creatures around. I'm seeing music and light, colorful things. Like I'm not seeing a lot of evil.
is
growth.
it in peril?
Yeah.
In theory, but
Isn't
my
everything in peril in theory?
No, my interpretation was this is just like an evolution of life. So the humans, for whatever reason, don't exist anymore. So there's evidence of their structures. There's evidence that they have existed at some point, but they do not currently live and run in this world. Because,
If you
There
read the
are-
achievements, it's in peril.
but everything,
It's
there
quite
are
apparent.
absolutely functioning areas.
Yeah, there are.
So that's what
Because
I'm
there
saying.
are things that are stopping the
See, I was not
Wither.
reading these achievements. I had no clue they were telling a story in these stinking achievements.
Yes,
I
they
never
were.
pay attention to achievements. I literally could care less about achievements, and you guys are telling me this is apparently a story over there.
Which this is a valid point then of if you are not an achievement person, you are missing a pretty significant chunk of the game then.
yeah, because that's like, even if you are collecting these things as you go through them, heck, even if you're intentionally collecting them as you go through them, if you just don't generally read them at all, well, you've missed the story. You have missed all of the lore that the game has offered you. Everything else is a speechless walking lighthouse.
I'm gonna hate on it though. I think it's kind of clever. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Andrew. I think it's kind of clever and unique. I think if you are vibing with the game, you probably really are into that. If you're not vibing with the game, that's probably just another thing you add to what the heck. So I think it probably just kind of depends on where you land on that thing. But to me, I'm always down for people doing something that's a little bit outside of the box, and that would be something I would consider very outside of the box.
Yeah. Like I said, for me, it's just disappointed me from the studio because like I love Double Fine games. All their games are very unique and very different. Like Trenched was a third-person mech tower defense game. Like that's super awesome. Psychonauts was a very fun platformer. Broken Age was a point-and-click adventure game. Like they do just interesting things. Brutal Legends was a third-person action game that turned into a real-time strategy game. And so like, I don't know, just for me, this just felt like an indie game and just didn't seem what I kind of expected from Double Fine. The art style 100% is when we get into that. But yeah, just the story was just telling was just, it wasn't keeping me interested. Like I was exceptionally tired this week, which is also why kind of unfortunate for this game. It was putting me to sleep. I'm going through and I'm doing these puzzles and I'm like, I can't keep my eyes open. This is just so slow. And it's just unfortunate we played Herdling, which is like a game like this too. So we just did a game like this recently.
And it is weird because I didn't think of anything in terms of the impact of Herdling having an impact. Although I did at points be sitting there thinking like, man, this just kind of feels like Herdling. Like I'm just kind of moving along to get to the next part of the story, a story that really I don't know what's going on because, and I'm not angry about the achievement thing, but nonetheless, like a story that I just didn't really know was happening, and it's just a little disappointing because, again, graphically and the art is so good, there's just the puzzles are weak, and so as you said, they're putting you to sleep if you're too tired already.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like anything hit enough for me to be like, okay, I get where people are like so on board with this. If anything, I just think there's a lot of they convey a lot of emotion in a lighthouse, which I think is impressive. If there's no story or dialogue, man, that lighthouse, if it's sad, happy,
they gave
angry,
it eyebrows.
Yeah, like they really did an incredible job with making that, and then using the bird I think is a way to also like kind of up it a little bit because the bird would react along with it, so you could kind of follow the bird, which had a little bit more of that more recognizable face, anthropomorphic face. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I do think they did a good job with the lighthouse itself. I do think it has a you were rooting for it, even though I don't know what I was rooting it for. But
yeah, because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but I was still finding myself.
I just wanted to grow up to be the big lighthouse one day. That's what that's all I figured. It's like it's just he's the big lighthouse on the mountain. It's like that's gonna be me.
Fall into weird territory though. Again, I understand where somebody who's like a big time Double Fine fan would look at this and say it's a disappointment because it's not. It misses that core narrative that Double Fine's known for. But at the same time, I'm always down for studios kind of taking a shot at something different. So that's why I say, like, I'm still going to tip my hat to it and say, like, hey, this is a game for somebody. Like, somebody is going to adore this thing, clearly. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, Keith mentioned the Herdling thing. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, these games are way more similar than you think. They're both beautiful games with really simple puzzles, and you can't die. Like, you're going to be safe no matter what.
You can't in Herdling. You heard
that's true.
Herdling.
That's true. Well, so there's more danger in Herdling than there is in this thing.
I will say, I think the thing that maybe kept me more going with Herdling is you're always doing something. You're always directing your herd. And the game's fast. In the Herdling, you're definitely moving way more. To me, the lighthouse in this game is it's very slow. You do have a little bit of a dash, but it's still I felt like I really wasn't doing a whole lot. Herdling, in every sort of area, you kind of have a mechanic or a puzzle you're kind of doing. I felt like that at least was keeping my attention to keep me awake. Well, Keeper was just a lot of walking through corridors, which luckily all those corridors were perfectly lighthouse shaped that you could easily go in.
You never had a crawl. There was no lighthouse crawling.
I did, and like there was the little flowers around that you could light up. Gave me something to do while I was walking through the corridors.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, like, I don't know, I did like the little light mechanic of being able to kind of swing that thing around, and
it almost felt a little reminiscent to me of like Pokemon Snap. Like, I don't even remember
Yeah.
that, but when you like kind of do simple things to make the environment interact, that's literally what you kind of do with Keeper. You'll see like a little plant. It's like, oh, if you shine
Yeah.
your light on it, maybe it'll do a little dance. Doesn't do anything. It just dances. But it's
Honestly,
just like, I don't know.
Would you have liked Keeper a little more if it was fully on rails at that point?
I mean, maybe.
Honestly, maybe that actually would be kind of cool. It would let me kind of sit back and enjoy the ride, I think, a little more.
Yeah, like just enjoy the visual, like not even.
I mean,
though,
if I
again,
still had
like, talked about, it's not a ton of collectibles or whatever. Like you don't have to worry about finding anything. It's just
So the only
there.
thing you control is the light, like the lantern?
Basically, maybe that and the bird. Like, because I kind of wish, and I get why they didn't, but I almost wish you had a little more freedom with the bird, or like maybe a
Yeah.
couple times where like you got to like actually move as the bird or something. Like you got to fly, I guess. But which I guess I don't know. I won't spoil anything. But
Yeah. I mean, well, if I still had to wind open doors, no, it'd probably still piss me off.
I didn't have any issues with that. When you were
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
that,
really,
'Cause that
truly
first-
didn't bother me in the least.
That first
it worked
puzzle,
just fine.
you probably remember, it was a door with 3 symbols, and you had to
Yep.
wind each one.
Mm-hmm.
That one took me, like I said, about 15 minutes for how long it took me to wind. I literally stopped. I put the controller down because I'm like, I need to figure out what this puzzle's telling me because I don't want to spend 20 minutes realizing I'm winding in the wrong direction. And
What
so I
was the
literally
issue? Is
sat
it
there.
Your controller?
I don't know. I truly don't. I was playing. I downloaded the game on my Series X, and it was slow. I don't know why. But then when I played later on the cloud, it was fine. So I don't know what it was because I was sitting there. I was doing it quick. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm doing it too quick. I tried doing it slow, and I noticed every once in a while it would kind of stutter and actually wind a little bit faster. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I think there's a sweet spot, and I literally tried to figure it out. Couldn't do it. But then when
I mean,
whatever reason, when I did it on the cloud, it was no issues. I could go
Felt like it
fast or
was-
slow, and it was great.
A little sensitive for me sometimes, where it would like catch at most, but nothing that frustrated me. And
Oh,
truthfully,
I
the
had a lot of rage.
the puzzles too, every single one of them, it's really just a matter of just rotating it until your controller vibrates. You're like, well, there's the solution.
Sometimes you shine a light at a thing.
Oh,
I was-
so
I was-
most of the time you
puzzles
just shine a light at a thing.
I was tempted to stream this game, and I probably would have just been screaming the entire time. I was
The
so
angriest
pissed.
person ever to play Keeper.
I know. Oh man, but I probably at least should have had footage of it to show. Like it was just like, it was so slow.
Yeah, 'cause it sounds like your thing is just glitched.
it was. It
It
was.
sounds like because I didn't hear of anybody else having that issue. Mine went just fine, no problems. I played on PC mostly, so maybe it was my graphics card is built for.
You need like a
Spinning
couple
dials.
$1,000 PC so you
Yeah.
can wide doors.
It's
properly.
the only way the dials work is if you've got the PC for it.
And that's why it worked on xCloud because those run off servers.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the gameplay just, I don't know. There really isn't, I guess, too much to say more about this gameplay.
No, this was one of those where I was like, I know we've done this before in the past, where I was like, I don't know how much you can really say about it.
I
A
will say-
striking game with no narrative and very minimal gameplay.
right at the get go, I was really expecting of like, oh, I'm in the lighthouse. I'm gonna be blasting critters like this wither all over the
That's
place.
what I thought.
Oh yeah,
I,
so I'd
like-
be like freeing them and like I
Yeah.
almost like hurdling, like be coming along with me for the journey, or they'd be doing things to like help me. Nope, just you and the bird. Sven.
I thought I
is
would
what
be
called
doing
him.
way more killing
her.
with my light.
Yeah, that's not the light. If anything, is just more kind of a playful interaction
'cause it-
thing.
It gives you that vibe right off the bat. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how you save the bird. What's the bird's name? I keep wanting to say
Twig.
Stitch. Twig.
Yeah, it does have an
For some
accent.
reason, you automatically know his name because they just call him Twig, even though
Great-
there's
great
no
bird name.
dialogue.
Well, no,
Um,
the achievement tells its name is Twig, or no, I think in the control it says
It'll say press X to activate Twig,
yeah, all right.
and that's how I figured out what his name was. But I was like, how do you know his name?
yeah. How was a lighthouse though? Bird.
But yeah, the game kind of plays it out where it looks like that's what you're going to be doing, and was my expectation. As I was like, oh, okay, makes sense. So there's this stuff. My light kills it. Cool. That's what I'm gonna go around do. No, not really, because there is no sense of danger. You cannot die. There are honestly, there's not that many moments where you're actually even blasting that stuff. You're kind of
No,
blasting a lot of other things, but you're not blasting that stuff. So it's,
And that's what I mean. This island did feel in peril.
no, that's why to me, I know you said it was only achievements. That's not how I would describe it. There's like working functioning societies on this island that don't seem to be in all that much danger. It just kind of looks like life evolved.
No,
Yeah.
And
at most it's like towards that, like the very end, you see a couple creatures that are like stuck in the wither, and then you save them.
Yeah, but
And then they come back to help you for some reason against this thing that you don't know why it's in it because you've never seen it do anything wrong. It's just this whole time. Like I was waiting to be the bad guy. I was waiting it to be at the end that like I'm like attacking the life on this island somehow because
just blasting it with your light.
it never tells me that this thing is doing anything wrong. You're just like, hey, see that guy over there? We're gonna go mess him up. Let's go. And like the like shaman guy who I don't know who he is, but he had a staff and he was directing everybody around the battle. And then there's a big battle for some reason, and that was kind of a cool sequence, but I had no idea.
Well, that's the game is a series of sequences that are beautifully constructed, and that's kind of it. They don't coalesce together at all. They just kind of exist for their own little things. But did you think the little berry people were in danger?
No, they seemed like they were having a good time.
They seemed like they were having a great time.
And then
I
like
don't
the
know.
little rocks near the
I call them the
statues,
clam
they
rocks
just be
'cause
like
they kinda look
dancing.
like clams, but they're
Yeah, you
rocks.
shine the light on them, and then they get all
Oh, I
scared.
think they're
and
called
stuff.
drifters. I think those things were called drifters.
How do you know the names of these
The
things?
Because you read the
achievements.
achievements.
There is no dialogue in this game. The freaking achievements had everything in there.
Which is actually a funny thing to think about.
See, Aaron's
of,
gonna
like,
be mad about it by the end of this.
there's a
No,
lot of things in this game that had names, but I think Herdling really didn't have a name for anything.
No,
No,
the
you just named it.
Calicorns was it. They're called Calicorns. That's all I
that's
know.
right.
No, again, I'm not going to be mad about it. I think it's actually clever that they did this, that they did storytelling that way. I just never picked up on it. I was never looking at it. Andrew's naming these things, and I'm like, I didn't know there was.
I should just be making things up.
Oh, that's a
called. They're called wizardwazzles.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
I mean,
I wouldn't
for
believe
6
it.
years
I'd
of this podcast and the amount of times Andrew just makes things up, I never put it past.
Yeah, and he just says it's in the achievements from now on. He just makes something up, and you're like,
Yeah,
"Where
yeah,
did you see that?" Oh, the achievements. You're like, "Dang it! I gotta start looking at these things." So yeah, I mean, there's just that's all this game is. It's I mean, gameplay wise, you are walking. One every once in a while, kind of switch things up, where you're not just walking, you're kind of doing some other things. Some of that stuff is mostly related to
Jumping.
puzzles. But they
Yeah, I
are
mean,
just
really, though, like-
they're really just they're sequences, and you never do it again.
And it's a little bit of, by the time you're going, am I still doing this? They're like, oh, here you go. So they do a decent job of the pacing in that regard. Is you kind of start to get really bored with that thing that you're doing, which maybe isn't good in the first place that you're starting to get bored with it. But at least by the time you are, they just give you the next one. And I think the hardest part for me is that jumping is the first one, and it doesn't feel like it changes the game. I'm just like, now I can jump, and I'm still just a big lumbering walking lighthouse, which thank God that the first 3 minutes there where you're super wobbly, I thought that was going to be the whole game, and I was just not going to play it.
Yeah, I
like,
thought so
nope,
too. I was like,
I'm
is
out.
this game to be like
I'm
baby steps? I thought this game was be like baby steps where you have to, press left trigger, right trigger, and walk like a thing.
He just got his legs. Like
Which
that made
totally made sense. It did. Like narratively, one of the few things that made sense. I initially though, I was like, if this is the
I didn't
game,
think
so
that was
I'm like,
permanent. Gosh, I was getting mad because I kept stomping on houses and stuff, and I was like, "Stop it! You're breaking everything." But
Oh, see, I got upset because I didn't realize the camera wanted me to go down. So I kept going left and my character kept falling. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Why am I falling over constantly?
the
Like, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm
First
pressing
game
the trigger too long, like too fast. Nope,
And
still
just
fall over.
didn't
And I was
get-
like, oh.
that was where I realized. I mean, right off the bat, I was like, "Oh, I gotta switch my camera." And I'm like, "Uh-oh, this is fixed." And I was like, "So I gotta walk this guy towards me. I don't see what I'm walking to." And then I was like, "All right, I'll kind of get an idea of what we're in for right now."
I mean, I guess I will say when games do that, I'm like, I guess I know I'm not going to walk into anything. Like it gives
Yeah.
me this weird sense of security that I'm like, yeah, I don't know. You're not going to prevent me from going forward if I can't see what's blocking me.
That's a really good point. There was a puzzle. It's not very far into the game, but I remember when I went to go do the puzzle, I thought I think I'm doing this wrong. But then I was like, wait, the camera angles it's giving me, I have to be able to do it just
Yeah.
from this. And I was like, okay, and that did kind of like help me, because if that were any other game, I would have been backtracking a little bit to figure out, wait, did I miss something? Was I actually supposed to hit something back here that I missed? I would have been doing that. In this instance, I was like, no, the camera's got me facing here. It's something in front of me, and I figured it out pretty quickly after that.
Speaking of backtracking, and I only ran into this once because I think after I did it, I was like, I'm just not gonna like play into this. I don't want to call it like red herrings, but there are definitely paths where there's nothing other than just like, hey, here's kind of a neat overlook, and I think there's a photo mode, which just again, I'm fine with it in the regards of like I get why they want to do that, and I think that's a really cool thing. But with minimal collectibles that are in this game, which is a good thing, feels like I'm walking over there for nothing, and it's kind of confusing. Yeah,
Doing it for the art.
Well, and I joked about it when Andrew was in the Discord asking about why it takes so long to wind things, and I was like, it's time padding, honestly, to a certain degree. Like if without some of that stuff, this game would be an hour and a half long. If I didn't have to wind a door to open it every single time, or just move it, down, left, and right, which truthfully, again, I like that they gave these like kind of a puzzly vibe or a maze, that there'd be like two paths and one is just obviously goes to nothing. Like, well, I'm just not going to do that one. Like it's not even a trick, but they put it there like it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I ran into the same things, and that's where I thought that's typically where a collectible would be put. Like in any other game, that dead end has something, some doodad I got to go pick up. I mean, you just kind of mentioned the time to play. I know we've mentioned it a few times, but imagine this game being 2 hours longer.
No.
I mean, I think it's perfectly paced for the type of game it was supposed to be. And not a minute longer.
Yes and no, to be honest, because and it's so weird. And it was towards the end where I started to be a little bit more like, I think maybe this is a game, because all of a sudden I don't want to spoil it, as Andrew said, there's kind of an evolution of the gameplay, and the mechanics changes, so to speak, and you get faster every time. And so by the end of it, it's actually like this really, it's kind of fun. You're like zipping around the map and kind of going through things, and then it just ends. I'm like, well, I actually, if they could have, added another one or two of those things that gave me another hour or two of gameplay, I might not have hated it, actually, because that's when I was having the most fun.
Interesting. So by the end of it, you were actually kind of hooked. As we're kind of talking this through a little bit, part of me I kind of want to take a shot actually a little bit at the narrative issues here. I was going to give them a pass because this was clearly in art form turned into
but it's in the achievements.
I don't know why it kind of stuck into my head a little bit, where I was like, you know what? WALL-E exists. And for the first half of the movie WALL-E, it is a character who doesn't talk, who's lonely, whose best friend is a cockroach, who also doesn't talk. And that that movie did an amazing job creating narrative out of very simple, non-commutative items.
Is this game WALL-E?
I say this does it worse.
It does it worse, but like now that I think about it, the dynamic, like the lighthouse is essentially WALL-E.
Yeah, I mean, I cared about this lighthouse a little bit, but I cared about WALL-E way more. WALL-E was way more emotive.
Yeah.
Just as we're talking this through, I was trying to compare it to things in my brain, and that was the one that came up, and I was like, but wait, WALL-E, I was way more invested in that little robot than I was in this lighthouse. So maybe they don't get a pass on narrative. They could have probably done more with the narrative, even with non-dialogue. Maybe I'm being just critical.
Yeah. But the art, though, I gotta say, the art in this game is fantastic. I wanted to point out, it made me chuckle because we've kind of gone on rants about it before, but I like there's an arachnophobia warning at the beginning of the game.
Dude.
Oh god.
Where they're like, there's no spiders in the game, but there are things that are maybe look like spiders that could make people uncomfortable. And it's just like, come on.
All right. We've
Like-
been blasted in the comments before because I went on a rant about this before. So I just want to be clear. I do not deny that arachnophobia is a real fear. I'm not denying that. I'm not belittling it. I just think it's strange that it is the only fear that gets catered in a video game. There are all sorts of fears. You have fears of the dark.
Occasionally they'll give like, hey, there's some heavy themes here that could
Yes.
be, you know,
Yeah.
But I'm saying nobody's like, hey, there's a lot of darkness in this game. We actually have a setting that allows it to be light instead of dark in case you're afraid of the dark. Hey, there's a lot of open water. If you're afraid of open water, we've got a setting that kind of removes the water. There's no other setting like that. And this is one that's like, hey, by the way, it's not a spider.
I think that
but
was
it
the
is
weirdest part. And none of them even looked remotely like
No.
that was a weird one to me.
It's just one of these weird fears that suddenly got catered in video games that no other ones are getting catered to. It is just that one. So again, do not roast me in the comments and say it's a real thing. I'm not denying that. I'm not. I'm just saying there are other fears as well that do not get addressed in video games.
Well,
You're
'cause
going to a
'cause-
lot of tight caves. What about the claustrophobia fear? here?
That's what I'm
there's that.
saying.
Because so here's an interesting thing that and I think that this is why the game does it is they make this decision where those moments where it gets a little bit tense where the lighthouse is falling or about to fall, there's kind of like a scary tense moment. You can skip every single one of those, and I am almost positive that it is intentional to be like a hey, if you feel like this is too much, you can always skip past it and it's not gonna you can still play. But they don't warn you, they don't explain that, but they warn you about the not spiders. Like, what? I'd be fine if in the settings there was an arachnophobia option that was like, oh, I don't like the four-legged lighthouse. It looks too much like a spider. Let me turn that off. Again, to be clear, not roasting anyone who has arachnophobia. I never, not arachnophobia, but spiders are one of the few things in life that scare
Don't love them.
the turd on me. Don't love them.
Not a fan.
Like it is valid and I get it and I am not knocking it. But it is such a weird thing to throw in when I think they make deliberate choices about other things that could trigger somebody and don't even talk.
It's very strange. I just
It
can't
is.
figure out why this happened in video games. It's just very odd.
But anyway,
It's like that and petting the dog.
yeah. Yeah. To petting an animal to me really took off all because of Twitter. Can you pet the dog?
Yeah.
And they
By the
just-
way, there are no dogs to pet in this game.
no.
No, but you can't. And
You can't blind some people though.
It's kind of funny. But that and like all even your
Why am I
interactions with the
frozen?
bird, there's no like, I get to like fist bump the bird or something.
Thought the bird is a
You
lighthouse.
could do emotes with the bird though.
Yeah, or like randomly. But anyway, back to the art style though. The art style of this game is super cool. It's very Double Fine. If you know Double Fine, like they're very surreal. It's very like you could tell what they're making, but it's obviously a unique twist to it. Awesome looking though. This environment, they did a great job. You could tell they're proud of it. There was like one scene, like it's almost kind of claymation like too. There's like one scene when you're walking upstairs and the camera's like above, and just like as you're going and like the camera's pulling out. I don't know. There was just these camera angles in this game that just are really cool. There is one area, as Key said, it was an unnecessary path where you see like a giant flying turtle eating. It was super cool looking. The detail.
Oh
in the
yeah,
thing
it was.
awesome.
I did like it. And that's the thing about it. I'm like, at least with that, by that point in the game too, I kind of figured I was like, oh, this is just like a little like lookout point, just to show off the visuals of the game. And I appreciate it for that. I still spent about 2 minutes trying to figure out if there was anything I could activate there.
Yeah, did you guys
but-
try to kill the turtle?
No, but I
Because
was
literally
trying.
the mechanics is you popping those pink things, and it has a bunch of pink things on its back. So I'm like, can I kill this turtle? And it wouldn't let me.
Just this peaceful turtle.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was popping just about every single
Yeah,
one of them I found.
Exactly.
because
The
I
game
thought there
was
was
teaching me to pop those things, and it was all over its back. I know it's making it fly, but I'm like, all right, am I supposed to pop
I'm-
these?
I didn't really think of it that way. I just did it because I thought that's what I was supposed to do.
It's like shoot
but-
the red barrels.
But there was one, and I was trying. I can't remember where it was, but it almost looked like it had like a hand brush, like a brushstroke look to it, and
I
I
was
was like,
literally going to say that.
that was
That-
super cool. Like again, artistically.
It was, I don't know why it was like the first thing that really stuck out to me. It was going over a bridge, and you could literally see. I mean, I don't know if it was, but it looked like a physical paint brushstrokes on the sceneries. And I was like, man, that is so cool. And you know what's another kind of fun thing about this is as much as this has a cohesive, surreal vision, you'll go into areas that change it. So again, don't want to get into too many details, but you'll go into certain areas that feel more formed, if that makes sense. Like you'll go in and see a regular functioning town that it doesn't look all kind of painted and stuff. It kind of changes its art style, but it's cohesive. It all connects. It all still works. If that makes any sense, I want to be as vague as possible.
Yes.
But I love that stuff. Yeah. If you are truly looking for the vibes, if you are looking to just look at a very stunningly beautiful game, this is for sure a good ride for you.
Yeah. I will say, a thing I was a little disappointed in is the music.
Yeah.
To me, it
kinda
felt
let down.
safe. It didn't, like, some of the soundtrack, a lot of it's very quiet. And to me, I'm like, this is unfortunate because I remember playing Herdling. They played with the music. It was very grandiose. You go to these big open plains and it kicks up a notch and it really plays into the environment. Keeper did not. Like, it had some soundtracks were kind of nice, like a very unique soundtrack when you're in the robot village. And it just, but that soundtrack honestly got a little repetitive. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to
Yeah.
get out of this village because of the song. But yeah, I was expecting a bit more from the soundtrack.
100% I'm with you. This has been the year of soundtracks. I know I've discussed it on previous episodes where I think we've had just some all-timers this year that we've personally
absolutely.
reviewed. And I think it's especially planted in my brain how important soundtracks are. Because I think before, I like certain songs, but I didn't really connect just how much of a difference it makes in the game. But these games that are specifically art as a game, that soundtrack is crucial.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one's just a kind of a bummer on this one.
You great,
any
Keith?
thoughts?
Yeah,
Keith,
no, I was trying to. I mean, I was
plays
trying to
Keith
think.
Slayer?
Yeah, I was, and it's one of those things that with my camera not off, you would see me staring off into the distance, thinking. But realistically, yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to add on the music because it's underwhelming. Because there are moments where you have like it could ramp up, and there not to go back to the visuals, but also go back to them a little bit because there's moments of the gameplay where it's just it's so cool visually, like. And there could be such intense music with it, and it doesn't match the moment. That honestly, I think I played most of the game with like headphones. Like I just kind of had them like draped around my neck because I was like doing other things. I was playing the game. Like I just wasn't invested in the gameplay and the music, and sound didn't do anything to add to it for me.
The achievements, though, are great for achievement hunters. You're looking at about 13 achievements. They're all very easy to get. It's just finding these statues that you got to activate, which will give you some story background to it. But the great thing about this game, it does have a chapter select. And it honestly sounds like just about all of these statues, if you missed one, are very near the beginning of the chapter. So you don't have to waste a lot of time trying to dig through a bunch of stuff to get this statue for the achievement. But it's very easy to do 1,000 in this game. Really easy for 1,000 gamer score. As I said at the beginning, I thought it's cool how they did the achievements of telling story with it. Aaron may not agree, but I thought it was cool.
I like how you called Aaron out. I'm the one who's been like, that was a dumb way to do it. Aaron was just like, I missed it. He just said he
I
missed
said it was cool. I said it was cool. I just missed it. That's all.
Sorry. Keith may have complained about it, but I thought it was cool. But all right. But I think we honestly get to our final thoughts here. So Keeper, as I said, for me, this is just barely a game. I definitely had some frustrating moments with it, but obviously we're glitched. I think it is unfortunate where this game landed, as I said, because I was very tired this week and just this was not keeping my attention. But it is a beautiful game. It's definitely a game you can vibe with. Very cute characters, gorgeous art style. Its music just left me a little bit lacking. Its gameplay, like I kind of knew what kind of game I was getting into. So to me, the gameplay wasn't like, I don't know, I was expecting to be jumping and shooting everything. There was moments where I was expecting a little more, yes. As we said, I thought I was going to be fighting the Wither way more. But it just, to me, this game had a hard time hooking me. It just felt very slow sometimes, and it was just putting me to sleep. And it was, like I said, very unfortunate that I had a glitch where I just could not wind the door open, and it was taking me forever. So hopefully you don't get that. Hopefully that's patched for you. But overall, though, it's not a bad game. You're not going to hate your time with it. It's just, for me, this lands at a 75.
I, as I mentioned, it was towards the latter part of the game that I was sort of like, and it's interesting, I guess, because you kind of start to go away from the full lighthouse thing a little bit, and that's when I was starting to like, okay, this game's kind of cool. I kind of like what's going on with the gameplay, at least. The story, it wasn't until I finished the game and I went to look back at the achievements that I missed that I realized that the story was there, and that's part of the reason why I didn't like it. And I stand behind my initial argument that by that point, I just wasn't interested enough to really even figure it out. Because I think it still is just kind of like, okay, the story is told in 13 small sentences. It's not a lot. I just think overall, it all kind of fell flat outside of the visuals, which were fantastic. And I mean, the game is a vibe. It's that's it. And but yeah, for me, it was a pass overall. Yeah, I think I gotta give it like a 68. I mean, I think I gave 70 to Casting Frank Stone, and I gave that a pass. And you know what? No, that's fair. So I'll give this a 72 because I think this is a little better than that in that regard because I really do like the visuals. So I'll say 72.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just a tough one. I feel bad because I thought I was going to be the odd man out, but you guys are going to be kind of the voice of reason on this thing, on what I missed on this, and just because of where I saw the reviews. So I feel really bad that we are as harsh as we are on this thing. And I genuinely just think it was bad timing for us. I just think the games that we have been playing recently have been kind of tough. I didn't think Hardling was necessarily bad, but the casting of Frank Stone was a tough one for us. So
Yeah.
I think this one just kind of landed in a weird spot, and that just kind of sucks. It's not its fault, though. I think there's a lot to like here, and this game is 100% gonna work for certain people. And they're gonna look at us and think we're complete morons here, and I totally understand that. That's why I say, like, I genuinely kind of feel bad, but for whatever reason, it just really was not working, and I wanted it to so bad. I really, really did. I was kept waiting for like the aha moment, and it just never really came. Beautiful, beautiful game to look at. Beautiful, beautiful game to look at. Maybe that was the thing, and I just missed it. Yeah, for me, I'm also gonna stick with Kike 72. I think that's fair. 72.
Alrighty. So I think we'll wrap it up here. I'm going to give a quick shout out to one of our newest Discord members, Waffle House, who pointed out that we did not have our Discord link on our website. So thank you, Waffle House, because it is now on our website. So go to GamePassGrabBag.com. Find all
Is
our
that
past
the real
reviews.
Waffle House?
Maybe.
I freaking love Waffle House.
Do you really?
I love Waffle House, and my kids love Waffle House. So
See,
It's the one and only.
me and my daughter, we love breakfast food. So like we would go to IHOP, Cracker Barrel. We went to Waffle House for like the first time, and she didn't care for it. She literally got like the chocolate chip waffle too, which is like 90% chocolate chips.
I freaking love that.
And she had like a quarter of it, and she was like, "I think I'm good."
It gets
Like,
real
she's-
intense if you're putting syrup and chocolate chips because they are liberal with the chocolate chips.
Yes, they are.
So you kind of have to be okay with that. Man, they make these breakfast bowls though. Just their hash browns and then their sausage and also, oh my gosh, I put a little hot sauce on top of that thing. Ooh wee.
Maybe I
Love
need to
it.
do that.
Big
Yeah,
fan of
yeah.
Waffle House.
I mean, she's in kindergarten. She's obviously a sugar fiend. And so that's why that was crazy when she was like, I think I'm good.
The other day I took them and it was like the birthday of Waffle House. So they had these waffles that they put basically these giant, I think they were probably chocolate sprinkles. And I mean, Mason was like not even halfway through that thing. And he was like, I'm done. Because it was so much sugar. I mean,
See-
so much sugar.
I know, yeah, your daughter's a sugar fiend. Like she literally
Yeah.
only eats like cereal. I remember when you guys came over and we went to Smash Waffles. And I remember she was eating a waffle and she's like, this is too sweet. And you were like, you were blown away that you
It's
never thought she'd
very
say that.
rare, that she can max out on sweet. That's just kind of something that doesn't happen with her. But yeah, every once in a while, Waffle House will sometimes do it to her. She'll get the chocolate chip waffles, and she'll usually leave like a section of that, like a quarter of that, where she's like, I can't do it.
See, IHOP to me is usually too sweet. Because I always say I get the sugar sweats when I'm literally eating a pancake and I'm just sweating. and I'm like, something's wrong with this pancake.
Diabetes, Andrew.
I know. And I literally have only got it from IHOP. It was like a confetti pancake, and I was like, this is clearly too much sugar. I'm sweating in an air conditioned building eating a pancake.
I just love the idea of IHOP killing you because you were eating a confetti pancake. How American can you be?
I know, seriously. But anyway, breakfast rant over. Go to GamePassGrandDog.com. You'll find the link to our Discord, our YouTube, and our Facebook, and all our past reviews. So come join us, say hi. We do our live recordings every Wednesday. We always love having people talking to us, interacting. But yeah, I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952.
I've been Keith. I want to go play more Ball Pit.
Ball Pit?
Game's so much fun. It's I think we should do an episode. It's fun.
Oh, we probably will.
I'm Aaron, by the way.
I played a lot.
Yeah,
Oh, you
thanks
actually-
again, as always. Appreciate you.
I'm surprised you guys. I did think you guys would do outros. You usually yell at me to start the music. But anyway, thank you all for joining us. Hopefully Keith will have his video fixed next week. Love you all. See you again next week.
Bye.